righty. Welcome back to the Sleuth Intuition channel. This is True Crime in the Morning. I'm your host, Patrick Vallejos. My friends call me Sleuth. I am joined by the one and only Frankmeister. Frank, how's it going? I think your mic's muted.
Good
There
morning,
you go.
Sleuth. How are you doing, bud?
I'm doing well. Thanks for joining me today. I know you've been doing a whole lot of work on Jorden Sopher's case, and you've gotten through a few thresholds here, I see.
Yep. And it's very depressing, the things that I have found in this file. And me and you've discussed it, man. And it just irks me, some of the stuff that I found in this. And it just, oh, man, mind boggling.
Yeah, I was walking this morning with my wife, and I was telling her, yeah, we're still working really hard on this case with Frankmeister, and with God's help, maybe something will break loose. And I mean, her heart was just broken. I was going over the details, just kind of going through the motions for today's live stream, and man, it just broke her heart.
Where she bounced around between families from the time she was an infant until she went and disappeared, and I was just like, what the hell was going on with this? So I started digging more and more into the file, and I started finding stuff in there. I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah, it
Some of the
seems like
rumors.
it seems like it was tough for her, huh, from the
Yeah,
beginning.
yeah, very much so. And I was some of the stuff that was being said and what she had told a pasture and then the rumors that I was hearing, then it started adding up, and I was like, man, no wonder she's been bouncing around.
Yeah, and it also makes sense why she would be hanging around this Corey character.
Oh man, he was bad news.
Every
Bad news.
everybody who talked about this, and I don't want to speak ill of the dead because this person did take their own life in 2013. God rest his soul,
Hmm.
and we don't know 100% what happened. But you have multiple investigators, the whole law enforcement team. I mean, he's their number one guy. It seems
Yes. And from what
so.
I mean, when I first got the file a couple of weeks ago, I started going through it and I found some what they call chicken scratch that detectives use. And technically, they had three people as suspects. But as more and more I went through that file, I found another one, the gentleman that failed his polygraph.
Hmm.
And so I had to add him to the list. Well, two out of the four people are deceased now, which would be Corey and Erin Harlan, which her name is Erin Gray now. Her husband passed away in 2022.
He was the roommate number two that Jordan was staying with at the time of her disappearance, right?
Yes.
Right.
And according to the information that was in this file, this gentleman allegedly helped Corey dispose of her body. So he took a polygraph and he failed it, but nothing has ever been done ever since. And I spoke with Erin. She took a polygraph and she passed, but something was just off when I spoke with her. And then I started going through the file again and found some more information in it that allegedly this is what was being said is that Jordan was sleeping with Erin's boyfriend at the time. And according to what the files are saying, that she tried to OD her and it didn't help. So Corey allegedly strangled her to death, and that's when they went and dumped her body.
That's what witnesses are telling law enforcement, right?
Yes. So there's a combination of her being drugged and possibly strangled to death.
So it could be both, right? They
Yes.
tried to drug her, didn't work,
Right.
and then later on in the day, they finished the job.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, I did read over Linda and Robert's statements. Nothing leads to the family being that side of the family being involved, but something awful funny was off in that file also. That according to the file, Linda Sopher ended up kicking Jordan out. For what reasons, I haven't found that out yet. So she, like I said, man, she had a real rough upbringing. You
So
know.
rough life, rumors of sexual abuse, right?
Yes.
As
Yes.
a young kid.
Yep.
So I mean, she was thrown away like trash, guys.
Exactly. And now I can understand where she the road that she was leading, getting hooked up with the wrong crowd, the drug people, I mean, she was 18 years old and dating a guy in his 30s. And You saw his photo. I sent him your photo. His photo. He looked rough.
When I read all the, it was like a few different witnesses who know this person. They all said the same thing. Like he's a drug addict.
Yeah.
He's very smelly.
Hmm.
Multiple cases of people coming forward of rape charges against
Hmm.
mysteriously after they come forward are no longer interested or are changing their story. So he doesn't seem like a very good guy.
Right.
Um,
Well, this guy has been in and out of prison, in and out of jail. He's got a rap sheet a mile long, and you know that I'm trying to get his death investigation filed. Me and you've already talked about that because I had
yeah.
spoke to the Wabash city attorney on Friday, and he did confirm there was a suicide letter in Corey uh, Reidenthal's file. So I'm trying to get that file because if there's anything related to Jorden in that file, we might be able to close this case.
Well, they're offering, from what I've read, immunity to the folks that they believe 100% have knowledge. So there's absolutely no reason for these folks not to come forward, let justice take its place, go talk to law enforcement, go tell them your story, and that's the end of this. It's
Right.
the end of it, guys.
And I've got a couple of a married couple in Wabash right now that's doing some work for me trying to locate. I'm gonna go ahead and give his name. There's no reason to hide it. His name is Brad Grizzly. This is the gentleman that allegedly helped dispose of Jordan's body out on that country road in May of 2009.
Yeah, it appeared according to his polygraph test, that he was not being honest, at least with actual firsthand knowledge of what happened to Jordan.
Right.
He's not being truthful.
And I have come across some other information also. The location that you have on your map might not be correct because somebody else was looking into this case a while back and a map was sent to me of actually where her skull was found. It was actually found on that country road, but not near the Wabash River. It was across the road in a drainage ditch.
That sounds like animal movement.
Right. I sent you all the photos of the crime scene.
Yeah, I saw those. Also, it kind of reminded me when you said that of what the hell's his name? He was kind of looked at as a person of interest in the Delphi case. What's his name? He killed his son. He was a trucker. Red Wine. That's his
Yes.
name.
Yeah,
Red
red
Wine.
wine. Right.
That's very similar to his crime scene. They found him. He was kind of scattered.
Right.
They found, and they believed an animal had taken his skull to a whole nother area of the crime scene there.
Well, that's a great good possibility, but also the location that me and the rescue went to was a floodplain. So if the floodplain was underwater, that means that remains would have been floating down the river and landed in other places.
And wasn't there talk from another witness that somebody mentioned a reservoir,
Yes.
dumping a body in a reservoir?
Yes.
So I wonder if she could have made it to where she was if they did dump her in that reservoir.
I know that when I spoke to her biological father, he said that there's the reservoir bridge that you could stand on and you can actually see the location that her remains were found at. That's what he's telling me. But then again, with the information he's been telling me, I've been trying to get a hold of the mayor of Wabash, which used to be Detective Long at the time. He was the original investigator on this case. And I haven't got a return call because there's some information that Mr. Willis, which is Jordan's biological father, Dwayne Willis, had given me. And I'm trying to vet this stuff, and I can't get the mayor to call me back.
Scott?
So, yes, Scott Long.
Okay. I don't know. Maybe I can email him to that email address that I had a while back. I think I found his personal email address.
Damn, rescue's always on my ass.
I'm gonna pull up a map. Oh, about your mic?
Yeah, every time she gets me.
Well, it sounds like a loud typing. It's like,
yeah, it's
so I always think you're typing.
Right.
I'm like, what's he typing on? But let me show this map real quick. I want to look at the reservoir here. And I think it's somewhere right where she was found, not far away. Okay, so probably further towards Peru. So she was found there, and I think the reservoir is down here. There it is. So this is the reservoir that's mentioned by a witness here. And it does appear to be pouring in that direction. But
Right.
if she went downstream here, I don't think she would have ended up upstream there.
Depends on which
This
way
is
the
where it
river's
forks.
flowing.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it always flows towards the ocean, right?
It's got to run east or west, or north and
Yeah, I think
south.
it runs
Excuse me.
west because in Delphi, the Wabash runs west. Or I don't know. I'm so confused. I'm pretty sure, yeah, or east. Nope, west. Yeah, so it does flow west. So there's no way she could have ended up there. So just because they say the reservoir, I mean, this isn't very far from where she was found anyway.
Right. It is.
So
I
you
mean,
said
it's
the
still a
area
long
was a
distance.
little off.
Yes. If you got a picture of
Okay.
where you had it circled, where her remains
Yeah, right here is
were
where I
found.
had it circled. I had it
Okay.
circled like right over here.
Is that County Road 25 right there?
Yeah, this is the road you guys walked down, and I
Okay.
had it
Go down.
circled
Keep
just
going down. Keep
like
going
right
down.
here.
Yeah, go down a little further. See that right here? Right here. Go back up. Go back up. No, the other way. The other way.
This area?
No, go back the other way that you're going. Stop when I tell you to.
Which
Keep
way?
going. Yeah, that way. Keep
Okay.
going. Right there. See this to your right? This little road, this thing right here? Right there. That is a culvert. And that's allegedly where her skull was found.
Right here?
No, down. Go down. Keep going. Right in there. That's
Right here.
allegedly where her skull was found because there is a culvert that goes underneath the road that leads right into the Wabash.
So
Kristen's
this
calling.
this may not even be the dump area.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying because according to the information that I have there, me and rescue mapped out everything what it told us to do, and we went right to the area. And then I had somebody try to tell me she wasn't found on the east side of the Wabash, and I said yes, she was, because the information I have is on the east side of the Wabash, is where your cursor's at, is the east side,
Yeah.
and 463 feet southwest of County Road 25.
So
So
that
if
should
you're
be like
going,
right here.
yeah, right in that area.
So she was kind of scattered through here.
Yes. And
So
that whole area is a mushroom patch. That whole field is for mushroom hunting.
now why would anybody be on this road here? Can you get to any
It,
of those scrap yards through here?
yes, that road is a gravel road, and it is just out in the middle of nowhere. And County Road 25, if you go back to the east, about an eighth of a mile, there's houses. Sits back in there.
Back here?
Yep. See all the houses right up here?
Mm-hmm.
That's what's
I
weird.
wonder if there's any I wonder if there's any abandoned homes, because we know they were scrapping. The main folks of interest were that's what they were doing. They were scrapping that day.
Right.
I wonder if there's any properties back here that might be abandoned or anything that they might be interested in getting the metal from.
We didn't notice anything because we went up there quite a few because we wanted to see if there was anybody outside because it was a decent day, so I could stop and question them, and nobody was out. But I ended up stopping a DOT driver on that county road or that gravel road, and he was a young kid, and I asked him, and since I realized he was so young, he probably didn't know anything about it, so I went about my business, and we just mapped out where we needed to go.
I'm gonna look up these scrap yards here and see where they're at.
Yeah, like I said, if we can get pressure on Brad and Aaron to do the right thing, this case could be closed. There's no doubt in my mind.
Well, Brad is the one that was apparently picked up right after Corey was with Jorden, and he's the one that told officers that he saw the phone. And there's probably a lot of information that he's not talking, like maybe some scratches or something, you know.
Right. I do believe he knows exactly what took place. I believe Aaron also knows too. And like I told you, when I spoke to Aaron, she was defending the hell out of Corey. That's my best friend, da 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 da. My personal opinion was this was from her saying that I believe that her adoptive father did it. And then when I mentioned Brad about failing the polygraph, she said, well, there you go. I was like,
Yeah, she's not, because isn't she best friends with Corey?
she was at the time.
So, so if Corey's the person of interest, she's best friends with him, and rumor has it that um, Jorden was messing around with Aaron's boyfriend, right? Right around the
Yep.
time.
Yep.
So, I mean, that could go to a motive.
Well, from what I read in there, it said that she came home from work that morning and found Jorden in bed with her boyfriend. And I'm like, what? Hold on, man. So, and now it makes sense to me that just hypothetically, that Aaron and Corey were pissed off about the whole situation and they had to do something about it. Plus, being on drugs, you never know what the hell they were thinking at that time. Because when I
Yeah, I
spoke
mean,
to Aaron,
this guy's out of his. He seems like he's out of his mind. I mean, he's literally working. He's doing the hardest work I've seen in a long time just to get his drugs.
what the hell's going on with my stuff now?
Your connection might be disconnecting again.
Well, that shows I got a good connection. Here, let me back out real quick. I'll come right back in.
All right, sure. All right, so I'm looking for these scrap yards. I found them before, and they're kind of in that direction. So let's see if I can find them again. I keep looking in Wabash, but really it's in Peru. That's weird. Hold on.
What is going on?
You're frozen again. It's the connection to your headset. Whenever StreamYard sees any issues with the microphone or the headset, it'll disconnect you. Okay, so here's one scrapyard. Recycling and recovering. The scrapyards in question would be Sturgis Iron and Metal Co., operating as David Levine Co., Scrap Recycling. So I believe there's one located there and then another one somewhere over here somewhere. Jorden was found right here. So did she go with him to the scrapyard? Remember, the person of interest was traveling from Wabash to Peru all day. Wabash, Peru, scrapping metal. Multiple trips, right? Jordan's body was found right in between the two locations he was traveling between, pretty much in the middle, right here. So we're gonna wait on Frank. I think he has a bad wire on his headphones. And if that bad wire loses that connection, StreamYard's going to boot him right out. All right, let's go to the chat while we wait on Frank. Let me see. Let me go all the way down to the bottom. CJK, the cross for Jorden is lovely. Such a great thought from Frankmeister and Rescue. Let's see. Patricia Warner, good morning. Good to see everybody. Karen Bentley, V. Marie, Cindy O, Jerry, Blue Hearts for Jorden. Great work, Rescue. Good morning, Daily Survivor. And it looks like we have Frankmeister back. Welcome back, Frank.
I'm here, man. I don't know what the hell's going on, man.
I think you got a bad cable. Because anytime as soon as you lose a disc, it disconnects. StreamYard will be notified and it'll try to kick you out. Let's see, Julianne Friend. Just going through the chat right now. True Crime Fangirl, Sparky, Charismatically Clever, welcome in.
Oh, matter of fact, let me give a shout out to Charismatically Clever. My brother from another mother called me up a couple days ago and asked me to send him some music and some photos and stuff. He created me a new intro to my channel.
Yeah, so I like it.
Charismatic, appreciate it, brother. I got you on Friday when it comes to taking care of you monetarily on that, bro.
I thought I recognized the production on it. I was like, and I was thinking, I wonder if Grizz had anything to do with this.
Yeah.
Because he has a certain style. Yeah, that's a good intro, dude.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I watched it 3 times this morning.
Yeah. I mean, I first got with him about it, and I said, man, I know there's one part of this intro that I want as an explosion, like a military explosion with my face coming out of it, the Frankenstein face coming out of it, saying True Crime Talk with Frankmeister. I definitely wanted that added in there, and he got it done.
Yeah, it was intense.
But as far as Jorden, man, I mean, I made a decision. I called a couple people, and I've already made a decision. I talked to Rescue about this morning after the allegations that I've read through this. There's certain people I don't want to be at the memorial. That's just the way I feel about it. And I know it's wrong to say that, but when I read a document from a pasture in this file that Jorden went and confined in about being sexually abused, I have a major problem with that.
Yep. Let it be known, man.
You know, and I heard through the grapevine a year or two ago about this, but I didn't have any confirmation, because allegedly what happened was when Dwayne Willis got divorced from Jordan's mother, he got remarried to another lady. And when they got divorced, she filed for sole custody of all the kids on the basis of allegations of sexual abuse.
And adopted the 2 that weren't hers, right?
Right. And she ended up getting all the kids, and then ended up giving Jorden to ward to the state because apparently she was just out of control. So, and that's where the Sophers came in and adopted her.
Yep. And a lot of times these kids act out because they're being abused. I mean, she's not going to give somebody like Corey the time of day if she wasn't so desperate for that attention, that male attention, you know?
That's the way I'm looking at it. I mean, it's almost like he might have been like a father figure or an older brother figure to her. You know, I mean, we just don't know.
Well, I know that they were sleeping on a couch together.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
the morning that she disappeared.
But then again, I read some report today or last night that Linda Sopher kicked Jorden out of the house for allegations of the same thing, but I have not found any information to confirm that. Allegedly, she was sleeping with Robert Sopher, and I'm like, what? So,
Yeah, this poor kid, man. She was used, abused, and thrown away like trash.
yep. And I sent you a bunch of pictures of her as an adolescent too, when she was a child. So, I mean, there's search warrants in there. There's polygraph tests. There's interviews with all kinds of people. There's a lot of media coverage, documentation. I even have documentation for the National Missing and Exploited Children. They had her case. So where we go from here is between me, you, Fig, Chris behind the crime door, and Deb, because I know Deb's got a lot of connections in Wabash, and she's wanting to help try to get some people to talk also.
Well, the part I don't understand is the main person of interest. He's passed away since
Yep.
law enforcement has openly offered these folks immunity. Now's the time, I think, for them to do it, to do the right thing.
Well, I might have to give Aaron a call again.
One piece of information can close this. They have, according to what we're seeing here, Frank, they already know who did this. They know
Right.
what happened. They're pretty certain about what happened. They need that one piece of information, which is simply somebody who has the details to come forward and say, look, I can verify exactly what happened that day. That's
I
it.
mean,
Case closed.
I mean, if you look at it, it reminds you of what Doug Carter said. We only need that one tip. That one tip. And we know where the tips are going to come from, in my opinion. It's either going to come from Aaron or it's going to come from Brad. And that's why we need to start a pressure campaign on these two immediately to get this out there and let them know that we're on their asses and they need to come forward and let us know.
Yeah, Jorden was not trash.
No.
As much as you guys want to throw her away like trash and forget about her, she wasn't trash.
Right.
She was just had a really rough life. And people like that are easy targets to take advantage because they need attention. They know that who they're with and who they're talking to are bad folks, but they don't care. They're part of something.
Right.
It can't be worse than where they just came from. Is
Right.
always what they're thinking.
So to everybody in the chat or anybody that's listening or watching, and even if you're not in the chat, this is the opportunity. If you live in the Peru area, the Wabash area, if you know anything about the Jorden Sopher case or what happened that day or what the circumstances were, please get a hold of the Wabash Police Department or the Peru Police Department. If you're afraid,
the numbers are in the description of this video.
And if you're afraid to speak to law enforcement, Lou's got his email and I've got an email. You can contact us.
Anonymous tip.
Yes. And we can forward this information to law enforcement. We'll keep your name private. It will never come out. But we need the public's help on this, guys. We're this close from closing this case. We just need that one person to come forward. Yeah, it was that country road, man. I was like, man, this is out in the middle of nowhere.
Well, I found both the scrap yards. So one's down here, one's way down here, but it's nowhere near where you were, Frank. So here's where you guys were, that country road you're talking about, East 25. And one of the scrap yards that he has a receipt for is down here.
Oh, you saw.
So he did kind of have to cut through the country right here.
Yeah.
I didn't see the receipts yet. I just read a report where they named Sturgis Iron and David Levine Co. scrapping and recycling.
I even have letters from when he was in prison. They were confiscating his mail and copying all of his mail. Corey's. They sure were.
Yep. I was reading the transcript on that right now. The phone call between him and his girlfriend, which is crazy because he had a girlfriend while he was messing around with Jorden.
Right.
Like an actual girlfriend.
So he was trying to be a player for a young girl while he had a girlfriend. And if I can get that file on his death investigation, and if I can see that suicide letter, man, that might help us a lot.
Yeah. Also, he may have told somebody, like, I know Corey had some brothers and some family. If he told you guys what happened, it's not on you. but that information could be very helpful to law enforcement. You should
Right.
and remember an anonymous tip. Call in anonymously. Ruffle your voice. Just give those details that they need.
Like Sleuth said, if you are, or if I said, if you're afraid to speak to law enforcement, please reach out to me or Sleuth or Fig Solves, Kristen behind the crime door, or True Crime Notebook. Deb's True Crime Notebook. Those are the 5 people that only have access to this information. And I've already had several people reach out to me already and ask me if I'm going to share the file. And I have to tell you guys, I cannot share the file with the public because it's an open investigation. And that's just plain and simple. I'm sorry, but I picked 4 people, 4 of the best sleuthers that I can find to help me and Sleuth with this case. And those are the only people that are going to get this file.
Yeah, and law enforcement is desperate right now.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
extremely desperate. They know everything that happened. They have all of the details. They just don't have the handful of people that can confirm it to come forward. That's
Right.
it.
So if we can get a hold of Brad and I can get in contact with Aaron again and let her know, hey, we know that
We're not going away.
right.
We're not
We
going away.
know that you were offered immunity. So if you're willing to talk to me, girl. I mean, I even gave her condolences about Jason passing away, her husband, Jason Gray.
God rest his soul.
Yep. I even gave her condolences on that, but she sounded like, honestly, dude, she was flipping out on me. And that kind of made me suspicious. Why is she snapping on me like this and covering for Corey and then putting it on Brad or Robert?
Because she thought it was going away, but it's not
Right.
going away.
It's not going to go away.
They can make it go away. It's up to them if it goes away. And all that guilt and all that grief.
They're going to keep. I don't like using this word and doing it to people, but you are going to get harassed until somebody speaks up. That's all there is to it. The law enforcement might not do it, but I'm telling you what, the YouTube community will harass you until you come forward and say something.
And just because she doesn't have a family that's hooping and hollering and making all this noise doesn't mean that we won't.
We care. As you can see, we created a GoFundMe page. We've got a marker to put out there now. So this is really important to me and Sleuth that we get this case solved. And like we said, we're this close to closing this case. And if we can get as much help as we can from the communities in Wabash and Peru, it would be greatly appreciated because we know there are people in those 2 towns or cities that know something. Even though it's been 18 years since she disappeared and it's been 15 years since they found her remains, nobody's going to forget what happened. If you were involved, you're never going to forget. Well, my point is, I want your conscience to get to you. Because if I can get your conscience to get to you, we can close the case. This is very important.
And that's all we're trying to do.
Right.
It's just a reminder of what you already know to do.
Right. There's nothing wrong with being a good person and being what's the word I'm looking for? Being
remorseful.
Yeah.
But the thing is, things change. Loyalties change. You change. It's been a long time. Drugs have a huge effect on people. Could have had an effect on what happened to Jorden that day. Lives change. People get better. This is an opportunity for somebody to do something really great.
Mm-hmm. And the answer to your question, V. Marie, I have found a document in the file. They have excluded Richard Allen.
I haven't seen one connection at all.
Right. Their main suspect is Corey Bridenthal. In which, of course, he's deceased. Like you said, God rest his soul. He had demons.
And the only people who can verify it are these folks that we're reaching out to now. They're the only ones that could answer the questions. Because if law enforcement could answer the questions, they're not going to trust us. They would go and just make the arrest.
Right.
Because they have everything they need.
Right.
But they don't. They don't want this case to turn cold. And I don't want it to turn cold if it hasn't already. Especially when there's only 2-3 people out there that can totally resolve this with no consequences to them whatsoever.
Right. And there's another girl, Kayla Friedel. She went to Ellie about it years ago and said, "Look, I overheard the conversation, and I'm trying to reach out to her too, but you're not able to message her on Messenger or anything." So, I'm reading the chat here.
Chris says law enforcement question mark. But why would we contact law enforcement? Nobody even knows how Jorden died. No, that's the point. Somebody does know. That's what we're talking about here. Somebody does know how she died. Somebody knows who killed her, and somebody knows where they put her body and why they put her body there. And if it wasn't them physically, law enforcement is saying, "Hey, we're going to give you immunity if you can go ahead and give us some factual information so we can close this case." But these folks are not doing it. They are not doing the right thing.
And typically, when you run into situations like this, and the people that do have information are usually tied up in drugs, or they always have a run in with law enforcement, they just avoid law enforcement altogether. So,
yeah, they're thinking just like you, Chris. Law enforcement, like, why the hell would I ever go talk to law enforcement? They haven't done anything for me. But the truth is, these folks are out here running amok. If you weren't out here doing all these bad things and breaking the law, you wouldn't even be talking to law enforcement. I haven't talked to a cop in over 20 years.
oh, you mean as far as streetwise?
Anything.
Right.
Anything. I ain't even got a speeding ticket.
That's all I have was
Right?
driving
These guys
offenses.
going through these documents, these guys are on first name basis. They know their guy, they know the cops know all their girlfriends, they know their moms, they know what drugs they're on, they know who's dying of weird diseases caused from the drugs. I mean, that's really crazy that you're on a first name basis with homicide detectives.
Yep.
It's not good.
It's pretty
Not a
weird.
good look.
And like I said, this right here, just this right here is all the letters from Corey in jail. I've got background checks on everybody they looked into. I've got media, a lot of newspaper stuff in there that you cannot find in Google. National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, they were involved in the case.
Some private detectives were in there too, right?
Yes, there was some
I
private
saw
detectives.
some comments from a private eye, and he seems to agree with the whole Corey.
Yeah. So, and like I said, I've got a married couple in Wabash right now that's trying to get a message out to Brad. They found out where he works at, but the people won't give him the phone number or anything to make sure he works there. All we know is he's working in Manchester somewhere, Manchester, Indiana. But we do know that he's living in Wabash somewhere, and I'm trying to get people to get his address, because if I have to and me and Rescue are up there, I'll go knock on his door.
Yeah, even that knock is so much pressure. Imagine if you have information on a missing person and somebody's knocking on your door about it. You'd
Right.
shit your pants.
I bet these people are thinking, man, I'm in the clear. Well, Erin knows she's not in the clear after I had a little talk with her. So,
Yeah, and also Jordan's bio father too. He's not off the hook on this.
no,
I mean,
no.
with the abuse and letting all that happen.
He
I mean,
spent
we'll
time in
come to
jail.
that on the back end, but we're not letting that slide. I'm not letting that slide.
Yeah, he spent some jail time on that. The information I was just given today, he spent some jail for that.
Okay.
So, and I would like to get in contact with if I can find her name, the adoptive mother that he married that ended up getting custody of all the kids. I want to talk to her too.
Yeah, she seems like a pretty decent person. I mean, for her to adopt those kids like that and kick him to the curb after hearing about that nasty shit,
Right.
maybe she would be willing to come and talk and give some background information. Because I know Burgess, all he wants to do is kind of get some background information and try to build more information about who Jorden was as a person. We have a good idea, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just from what we've read through these files, we've got an idea of what kind of person, what kind of lifestyle she was living, and what she had been through in her lifetime. And hell, I didn't even know she was born in California until I got this file and got her birth certificate.
Yeah, I would like to know more about that. How'd she end up in Indiana?
Right. I do know that she was cremated and her remains are on a mantle somewhere in the Sopher family. I know that
And
much.
what about her bio mom?
She lives in Pennsylvania. Ruby Dungan, I think is her name is. I'd have to look it up. It's in the file. She lives in Pennsylvania.
And she's just not interested in it.
No, she's actually, from what I've been told, is that she took this real hard. Basically, almost went off the deep end. This is all from her sister that lives in Pennsylvania. She's living with her sister in Pennsylvania.
So she's feeling the guilt that the father's not showing.
Well,
She's
I
feeling
mean,
all of it apparently.
well, when I spoke to the father, you could, I don't know if it was an act or what it was because I couldn't really tell, but he seemed kind of remorseful. I mean, he was telling me about he'd go to that bridge over there by the reservoir, and he said, that's where my baby was found. And I'm thinking to myself, your baby? Really, dude? After
Yeah,
what I
don't pull
just
that
read
shit.
in here, that is not your baby, dude. I'm
You mean
sorry.
the baby that you let get adopted twice and just kind
Right,
of go out and get murdered in Wabash by a bunch of drugged out folks? That's
right.
not your baby.
That's not your baby, dude. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be rude if you're watching, Dwayne,
I
but
am.
I just don't.
I sure as hell am.
I mean, as far as him saying baby, but the shit that I've heard, Mr. Willis, and it's not just through documents, it's from people in Wabash. Honestly, and I've already spoke with Rescue All Dogs. When we go out there to put this memorial out there, I'm going to show you total disrespect. I do not want you out there, dude. This has nothing to do with you anymore. You gave that little girl up and let her be taken away from you because of some stupid shit you were doing, some sick shit you were doing. There's no reason for you to be out there at that memorial. She's not your daughter no more.
Yeah, and
Sorry.
how would you keep from swinging on the dude? You're at a memorial of a person who died,
And
and
I
there's
thought
recipes for this.
I thought about inviting him until I saw that in there last night. I was like, I called rescue immediately this morning. I do not want him out there because I know myself too well.
Yep, that's what I'm talking about.
I know myself too well.
Everybody's like looking around, having a great memorial, and you're just staring over there, and your blood is boiling.
Yep.
Before you know it, you're swinging on a motherfucker.
I'd like to invite the mushroom hunters.
Yeah, I would like to talk to. I want to create an army of mushroom hunters that just find missing folks and go out searching for people that were lost. I mean, they seem to be the ones who can get it done.
It seems like it's those kind of people that are out in nature that end up finding remains all the time.
Yeah, where are they going through huckleberry bushes and thorny
Yeah.
bushes and all kinds of stuff for these mushrooms? Let's put them to work for clues and evidence and finding dump sites, and because people that go on these searches, they're not going to go through these huckleberry bushes, and that's where people are putting these folks. They're trying to hide them.
Chris, we're not really talking about Klein or these guys right now. This show's about Jorden.
Yeah, we're not seeing any connection. I mean, there's a small town connection, but nothing as far as Jorden.
Right. And that was the first thing that I dug into was the RA connection. And once I went through that file and found that 2-3 paragraph letter from the detective when he got information somebody turned in about RA, he said, RA is excluded. I've already got my person of interest.
Yep,
Like,
that's what the private eye said too.
Yep.
He said, "There's nothing I can do. Law enforcement has done everything, and it's pretty sure he even used Corey's name and everything."
Well, I'm not afraid to use it now. I wanted to keep it on the down low, but now that I've read through this file and their main person of interest is Corey, Brad, and Aaron. So those two, the Aaron and Brad, is the ones that we need to focus on.
Yeah, and these are the folks that had her cell phone, had her purse, last folks to see her.
Yep.
All completely drugged out criminals.
Yep. They all have criminal records. All of them do. You know, even though Aaron passed the polygraph, I don't give a damn what a polygraph says because anybody can pass a polygraph if you know what you're doing. I've watched enough videos on, they teach you how to pass them, and I've watched them, and I'm like, well, that's how you do that? I'm like, wow.
Yeah, they're looking for spikes.
Some of the videos I've watched, they tell you to sit in the chair, and when they hook you up, you're to find a spot on a wall. and you are to focus on that spot on the wall while they're asking you the questions, and more than likely you're going to pass, even though you know something.
So what was one of the witnesses that heard it third hand? Didn't he say that somebody said that they dumped her in this reservoir?
Yeah. Well, according to what was in the files, she was buried in a shallow grave, is what it says, which would make sense if it was in a floodplain because the water comes up, everything is going to rise from underneath and come
Come
up
up
to the
with it.
surface. Yeah. So that would make sense to me.
We would need a. I would like to hear an expert on that. And you remember how they brought out the crash reconstruction team out to the Wabash River to kind of get an idea of whatever they were looking for, where it might have
Hmm.
ended up after
Yep.
like colliding or years of water flow and weather and flooding. I wonder if they
Right.
can do the same thing for Jordan, and then get an idea of where she might have been dumped, and maybe there's some more clues there.
Right.
Maybe she did kind of float up here, or um,
Because that one picture that I
okay. So
sent you that showed the
where's the floodplain?
floodplain, there's the river right there. You see where the tree line is?
So it floods up. Does it flood up all the way up here into this farm
I'm
area?
not really sure, but if you go where the tree line is, right there next to the Wabash, there's a floodplain right there, just like it at Deer Creek.
Oh, probably all the way up to the road then.
Almost, yes.
So if they buried her here when the water was down and then the water comes up, you
It
think
would
it ever
might.
comes up over the street?
Well, it's from what I remember going down in there. I don't think the river would get that high to cross that gravel road because you have
Yeah,
to
I have a
walk
video
down.
here.
Yeah, that
Let
video
me
that I
see.
rescue did.
No, I have a different video from a guy on YouTube that was boating there. He's actually in the water. It kind of gives you an idea of the water level. I should have it. I hope I have it. Maybe not.
If you do you have those crime scene photos downloaded, or are you able to pull those up?
No, I have them somewhere.
Okay.
I don't know if I have them handy though.
Because it shows clearly where they're searching, and I'm kind of confused because in the background you can see cars up on the gravel road. I can't tell if
Oh,
that's
here it is.
the floodplain or if that's across the road where the
So right above where you guys went on, was it 25?
we were right at 25, and that's where I went in down to the river at.
Okay, so this boat ramp right here is right up the river from you guys, like right here. There it is. So where this
Yeah, I know.
gentleman is right here. So it
Okay.
kind of just gives you an idea of what it looks like.
So
So I
she
wonder
was
if it
found
is
on
it
the
would flood
opposite
up over
side.
this road or
See over there? That's a floodplain over there. To your left, up,
right here.
right. Yeah, that's a floodplain right in there. That's all floodplain. And I had to walk down in there, and it was still kind of wet when I went down in there too. So,
It's a big river.
yep, pretty big.
All right. So this will be our 10-minute warning, Frank. Anything you want to talk about or address? The only things I really wanted to talk about was, or to finish with, apparently a witness said that she was spotted on the Carroll Street Bridge. I couldn't find that. On
I've
the
never heard of
25th, he
it.
said, just before she was reported missing.
Carroll Street Bridge. That would be in Wabash, I would
Yeah, there
think.
was yeah, Wabash. Yeah, Wabash near her home. So let me go back into
Let me see.
Wabash.
Let me see. Carroll Bridge, Wabash.
And Carol is right near her home.
And
So
she
she lived
lived
on
on
Hill
West Hill
Street.
Street. Yeah.
Yeah, right
Carroll
here is where
Bridge,
she lived.
Wabash, Indiana.
And she lived on Carroll and Hill Street.
Wabash, Indiana, 46992.
Is this it right here? Is this a bridge?
Carroll Street. South Carroll Street, Wabash.
So this is where she was dropped off. And then she walked down this alleyway to her home.
Yep, 288 West Hill Street.
So
And
she
then
has like this
Aaron,
weird back alley.
yep, and Aaron only lived about a half mile down the road where the Hardys was at. Aaron lived
Yeah,
off
I have
Hill
that.
Street too.
I have that location. Yeah, right up here. In these apartments right here, look.
Yep.
Let me see if I can go on the street right here. So this is where she was staying. Right in this area. I think this one of these little homes.
Right there. That's it right there where the stop sign is.
222.
I mean, 288.
Oh, right here.
That house right there.
What,
Where the stop sign is? See
yep.
the stop sign?
Yeah.
That house right there, right behind. That's it right there. I believe that's it.
Yeah, and I think all these are like different apartments here that you can rent each room.
Yeah, I have a picture of the house.
Okay, so Hill Street, I don't know where this bridge is. I guess we can go down Carroll. But I mean, it's a short street and I didn't see it. So I don't know where this witness is talking about. But he says one of her neighbors or something. Carroll Street Bridge. And he may be the last person who's seen her alive.
It might be just one of them little bridges that goes over a creek. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, let me see. Let me go down. It's a short street, so it wouldn't take long. Okay, where's Carol? Okay. I mean, I looked for like 20 minutes before we went live and I didn't see any bridge. Carroll Street Bridge. Then I thought maybe it was a pedestrian bridge.
Possibly.
I don't know if they have those in Wabash?
Well, yeah. When we went through Peru, they even have the pedestrian bridges there. Yeah, I don't think there is a bridge. I think some of it was full of shit. It's my honest opinion.
Yeah, I'll send you the report. It was Scott's report.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think
it was from very early on. Yeah, this is the end of the street.
No, there's no. I didn't think there was a bridge.
Yeah, Carroll Street Bridge. What the hell?
Fig just
so that was something because I know there's a lot of. What's that?
Fig just messaged me. He's going through the file now.
Yeah, well, it's kind of the pages are out of order, so I was spending most of my time getting it.
That's the way it was when I got it. That's the way I got it. Yeah, because I came up on a page 15 of something, and I'm like, where the hell's the rest of the pages?
This might be it right here. Oh, and then a list of some of her coworkers too.
Mm-hmm.
Try to reach out to these folks. Let's see, Tuesday.
That Kayla Friedel is the one I really, really want to talk to and find out who she was with when she overheard this conversation about what happened. But like I said, you go to her Facebook page, you're not able to leave messages for her or anything. So,
really?
She's got 2 or 3 different Facebooks. She's living in Marion, Indiana now. And of course, that's Jorden is familiar with Marion, Indiana also.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Man, I feel bad for her. So I wonder if the would you say it was did you say it was a Catholic preacher or something?
It was, hold on, let me pull it up. As a matter of fact, Let me pull this shit up real quick.
A pasture?
Yeah, it was a pasture. Give me a
I
second.
wonder if that's the same counselor that I read about. She was talking to some counselor. I wonder if they were referring to the same person. Farmer. He's like, don't leave us out. So mushroom hunters and metal detectorists. Frederica's asking, how did this Corey guy die? He self-inflicted.
Here's the letter on Richard Allen. And this is from Detective John K. Reference Jorden Sopher, Corey Bridenthal. I spoke to you a few weeks ago. I had a guy pay for a brief investigation into Jordan's murder. Because of these rumors, she was killed by a Richard Allen Delphi suspect. My investigation points at Corey Bridenthal as Jordan's killer. I don't know if I'm completely correct or not, but this is my professional opinion and the results I have given to my client. Corey killed himself a few years after Jordan's disappearance, so there will never really be any justice for her. I'll be damned. I'll be damned. I'm making sure she gets that justice she deserves. I'm trying to find that letter for here it is. Got it. Douglas Phillips, senior pastor, Emmanuel Free Will Baptist Church. And this is what I got out of the file. It's number one, a diary with entries dated in 2006. The last entry was dated 4, doesn't give the month of 06. It contains the following information. This is from Jordan. I was kicked out of my house 2 weeks ago living with a friend, Chris. It just says CRISS, but she left for the Air Force. Talked to Dad today. He said he loved me and was sorry. My mom and I are talking too. I'm working full time, but hope we'll be able to go to school next fall. Josh wants me bad, but won't get the balls to have an affair with his wife, which is fucking funny. This is what Jordan's saying. Saving money for a car. I went on a date with Nick Grove. Don't like him at all, but he has a car. An updated unmailed letter addressed to Jordan's biological father, Dwayne E. Willis. The letter begins as following. I am writing to explain how you have hurt my family and I. Your selfish behavior in molesting me was a stab in the heart. I trusted you. I'm angry and sad. And that's the end of that letter because they cut the rest of it off. And that was to her pasture. So, Mr. Willis, good luck in your life, buddy, because you're excluded out of this case now, bud. I don't give a damn if she's your biological father or not. When I read something like that, you have no business even trying to find out what happened to her.
Yeah, I'm going to find that document of that witness too.
Yep. So there's still a lot more to
I'm
go,
glad you
guys.
read that.
Yeah.
This is a good first show. We haven't even really broken the surface on what we plan to do for Jordan. This is just us reminding you guys that we're getting ready to get started.
Yep. Hopefully we can get this solved pretty quick, but we're going to take our time and do it the right way.
All right, Frank, I want to thank you for joining me today. And I'll talk to you throughout the day. And if I see anything of interest, I'll share it with you. And we'll talk with the rest of the group as well.
No problem, sir. Appreciate having me on.
Thank you again.
No problem, bud.
Take care.
Yep.
All right, guys, that is it for our time today. I want to thank everybody for joining us and everybody who donated to get Jordan her cross and memorialize the crime scene. That's going to be the first step in letting them know that she's not trash. We're not just going to let somebody throw her away. And we can't help everybody in the world, all these victims, but we were attracted to Jordan's case because of our interest in the Delphi case. And now that we're invested, that's just the way it is. So we'll see you guys again real soon. Everybody that participated in the chat, who caught the live stream, and everybody that supports my channel, thank you so much.